up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Astrology Pill. I am the astrology physician, and today we're going to be talking about the first half of May and what that means for everybody as we move into Taurus season. We are in Taurus season, guys. This is almost halfway through the calendar year, at least. And as we start the first half of May, this month is all about manifesting your dreams into reality. And me and Raven have already coined or termed this month, Make It Happen May. So for everybody out there, it's time to just make it happen this month in May. So we have a stellium currently in Taurus. Taurus is all about the physical experience. It's very earthly, very sensual sign. So it's something that you can touch, something you can feel. It's ruled by Venus, which is value, money, attractiveness, beauty, balance, harmony. I feel like it's time for us to kind of use what we have. We have everything that we need at this point, and I feel like this Taurus stellium is kind of allowing us to gather our skills and abilities or attributes, everything that we have pretty much, and be as resourceful as we can to basically create our realities. But we also have Venus in somewhat of a trine with Mars, playing out for like the first 10 days, I'd say, which is also, I feel, making us focus on our economic system. And economics is obviously our economy and money and things like that, but it's also how economical are you being with your resources and the things that you have. Are you being sustainable? These are also things that kind of relate to Taurus. These are also in air signs, and so these are probably going to be more of us adapting to less traditional ways and more new age ways that may involve the internet or may involve just rapid communication of some sort. Around May 3rd, Venus is going to come into a square with Neptune, and Neptune is going to be involved in a lot of things moving forward for this first half of May and even moving into the second half. But this Neptune-Venus square is basically showing us the challenges that we will have to overcome to create a realistic version of our dreams. Things that we love and value at the most ideal level. Now it's time for us to figure out how to make this realistic, make this more of a reality. Maybe it can't be the most romanticized version of what we want, but maybe we can get close. And on the 4th of May, Mercury and the Sun will come into a conjunction in what astrologers call Mercury going cazimi. And basically, when Mercury and the Sun come together, it's more clarity. Mercury is the mind, it's analytical, it's the hands, it's our motor skills, it's learning. And when it comes in contact with the Sun is the illuminator, it's the ego. It brings about an understanding wherever it is. So right now it's in Taurus. So I feel like this is more of a clarity or understanding of our economic systems and how we can be more economical and more efficient using the resources that we have. On May 7th, Mercury will sextile Neptune, and unlike the Venus-Neptune square, Mercury is going to find a way to ground the Neptunian energy, whereas we were basically trying to figure out what was more realistic for Venus when it was squaring Neptune. Mercury now adds more of a step-by-step process on how to make this a reality. On May 7th, Mercury will sextile Neptune, and unlike the Venus-Neptune square of a few days ago, Mercury is going to help bring steps in order to ground the energy of Neptune. So we will begin to understand not only what's realistic, but how can we begin to work our way towards making this reality more grounded. This is also the day of the Scorpio full moon, and I think this is a good time for us to come to culminations around where our control is and what has control over us. And on the very next day, Mercury will reach out in a trine with Pluto, which is the modern ruler of Scorpio. And that should help us understand where our control lies and how we can possibly use the things that we are possessive over to help aid us. And so these can be good and it can be bad for us. We can have like really deep psychological issues that plague us, and then there are times where we can use this really powerful energy to kind of propel us forward and allow us to get things that we want, because it's a very possessive energy, and so it's a very relentless energy. And if you use this energy in the right way, we can achieve almost anything. On May 10th, things get heated, and so not only does Saturn start going retrograde, but we also have the Sun in a sextile with Neptune. So we have Neptune a player again. We have Mercury in a square with Mars, but also in a trine with Jupiter. And so the Saturn retrograde is allowing us to evaluate our usage of time. We can do a lot of things, and I think that we've all had a lot of time on our hands since this coronavirus and the stay-at-home order has kind of forced us in our homes and isolated and quarantined. But if we can start to understand how to use our time a lot more wisely, this can also help us to figure out how we can be more productive in the future that we're building for ourselves. If we have come to a realistic version of what we value and we have the steps, now the Sun in a sextile with Neptune is showing us how to achieve it. And the energy of Mercury at this time is kind of showing us kind of how we are moving through this blueprint that we created a couple days ago. And so Mercury in a square with Mars may show that we are not quite sure of how to get started. We don't know exactly where, how to put our energy or action into this thing, but the trine with Jupiter shows us that we have a very full picture of this thing. We know where it starts and we know where it ends. It's now about trying to come up with a process of which we're going to actually start to achieve this thing. On May 11th, Mercury moves back into its home sign of Gemini. And it's really good for us to be learning new things. It makes it easier for us to pick up on different skills. And so whatever it is that we're working on at this time, expect to be able to pick up these things a little bit quicker while Mercury's in Gemini. But before this happens, the Sun is going to reach out and square Venus, as Mercury will actually square the North Node. And so this is all happening right at the same time, and I feel like this is the most pivotal point of the first half of May. I feel like we're going to have to learn to change directions really quickly. Not saying that we're going to change our ultimate path, but we're just going to have to change directions very quickly. And that's a very Gemini thing to do anyway. Gemini is very quick, rapid communication in a sense. And I feel like that's kind of what's being played out here, because the North Node has been in Cancer for the last year and a half. And so as it moves into Gemini, the focus is coming off of the man-woman narrative or the home career narrative, and now it's on our minds, our lower mind, our higher minds, also our spirituality, and we're going to be focusing on a lot more processes. Mercury, I've been talking about Mercury a lot during this video, and Mercury really wants us to understand things. It wants to make things easy to understand, easy to digest, and Mercury wants to kind of lay out steps for us. And finally, on May 12th, Venus goes retrograde, allowing us to evaluate our values, evaluating what we find attractive, what we find economically beneficial for us, what we find makes us more money, what we find makes us more beautiful, whatever it is, what we find gives us more of ability to create more, whether that's just create more wealth for ourselves or create more fulfillment, whatever it is that we feel Venus represents in our lives, that's what we're going to be evaluating during this time. But also during this time, we're gonna have Saturn in a trine with Mercury, which I feel helps us to come up with more efficient systems of working with the energies that are present at this time. And also Mars in a trine with the North Node gives us the confidence to start moving forward towards the things that we feel we want to achieve in the future and how we can be more productive parts of our society. So the astrology pill for the first half of May is to figure out how to use your time a little bit more wisely. Is that taking away something that has been taking up a lot of your time and replacing it with something that could benefit you in a different way or a more beneficial way? Or is it planning more or prioritizing things so that you can fit more into your schedule and have more fulfillment in the things that you're actually accomplishing? Because I feel like a lot of people, they do things and they don't feel like they've accomplished what they've wanted, and so they don't necessarily see the things that they've actually done. And so I think that this is a really good time to just utilize your time more wisely and maybe add more time for fun. You know, I feel like, at least with me, as long as I know that I've been productive, I can have as much fun after that. The work-life balance, pretty much. So I hope this has helped everybody out there who's been watching for the first half of May. I ask that you continue to like, share, comment, subscribe to the channel, and also check out Raven's videos. We're just trying to come up with videos every week for everybody to kind of figure out how to maneuver through this time that we're in right now. So I ask that you continue to support us and go check out all of our videos.